So, my message to all of Australia, Pauline, given that you're a foreign curial power so defined on the Supreme Court record, is to recognise that Albanese and his conspiracy inside the government, he has conspired with others to undermine the Constitution. Undermine the Constitution, Pauline. So my advice to all Australians is to vote no. That's for starters, because someone else pointed this out to me and it's very obvious. If you don't vote, they'll just assume you're yes in your absence. So go and vote, put down your no, and then carry that no out the door and hold that no forevermore. We won't put up with these conspiracies in our parliament anymore. We won't put up with these corporations running as parties anymore. Surely this is against the Constitution to let a corporation run for the parliament. That's a corporation line making the party line the corporate line, Pauline. That overrides the member speaking for his people in his region, and that has to stop. So I'm saying to everyone, vote no, but take it further. No, we will not put up with your crimes anymore. No, you will not commit crimes while running our government anymore. No, you will become accountable for your crimes. No, you will become accountable for your war crimes. No, we won't put up with you breaking your Hague Conventions or your Geneva Conventions anymore. No, we will make you adherent to the criminal code. No, we're sick of this. We won't put up with it anymore, Pauline. We take our no a lot further than this conspiracy we call The Voice, which is shown to be very criminal in its action all the way through, Pauline, all the way through. And you have to hold these people to account, because we're going to carry that no now all the way through. No, we don't want a foreign curial power dictating to us what to do. The people deserve better, Pauline, much better than this, Pauline. They deserve to see these criminals cleaned up, and they deserve to see a competent government, even if it is a foreign United Nations administration administering their stupid debt-ridden asses. This has to come to a fore, Pauline, where these people that have committed heinous criminal offences, including this COVID task force command, Pauline, it's very clear now on the court record that you're a foreign curial power putting all of these Volume 2 Criminal Code 1995 offences right on the table, right in front of you, right in front of all of you. So you should adhere to all of them, Pauline. You should adhere to the very laws that you are supposed to uphold, especially under oath in duty as senators. At the peril of your own lives, you took these oaths. So it's kind of obvious that you should uphold these oaths, Pauline, and follow every law of every Hague Convention, every Geneva Convention, every criminal code offence adopted into the criminal code to ensure that you are accountable, Pauline. Ensure that you are accountable. Now, we could go to the Accountability Act, Pauline, and we could follow that through. Remember how I Googled last time and I just typed in accountability and 2013, and it just came up. And it just came up again, Pauline. Look at that click. Wow. So at some point, Public Government's Performance and Accountability Act 2013, Pauline. So at some point, general duties of accountable authorities, rules about general duties of accountable authorities. Are you an accountable authority? Are you accountable? General duties of officials, duty of care and diligence. Right? Duty to act honestly in good faith and for proper purpose. For proper purpose, Pauline, proper purpose. duty in relation to use of a position, duty in relation to use of information, duty to disclose interests. Right? So that's officials. Are you an official? You're part of the public service? You're just a senator. Is that different? Are you outside of these rules? But what about the rest of the government, Pauline? What about the rest of the government, Pauline? Is the Prime Minister outside of these rules? Is he accountable? Commonwealth entities in the Commonwealth. Right? And we've split this into non-Commonwealth entities, remember? Because we looked at that section that said Commonwealth entities and non-Commonwealth entities before. All right, so are you a non-Commonwealth entity or a Commonwealth entity, being one nation, a corporation, working in a parliament? So when are you a senator? I'm trying to fathom how the corporation is allowed into this whole entire, gameplay. I understand that you can be elected as a senator, but where does the corporation One Nation come into play, Pauline? Are you a senator if you're a corporate member? Or is your corporation only allowed to have less than 25 members? Well, I'm trying to fathom this because this Uluru Statement had more than 25 members. So if Albo's representing a body that has more than 25 members, isn't that treason? Or is that Section 44 offence, Pauline? I'm still trying to fathom here how you would have let apartheid not be an offence. Right? And then accountability. Officials. Each Commonwealth entity has officials. An official of the Commonwealth entity, other than a listed entity, is a person who is forms part of the entity. Do you form part of an entity that's a Commonwealth? I'm trying to fathom that. Or is Australia not part of the Commonwealth, Pauline? Are you a senator or something that's not part of the Commonwealth, being this thing called Australia under the Great Seal of Australia instead of the Great Seal of the Commonwealth of Australia? And that brings to mind the Crimes Act 1914 and imitation, Pauline. Are you imitating seals? Are you imitating names, titles? What's going on, Pauline? We're trying to fathom this out on an international stage where it's very clear that you've committed international criminal offences that are listed on the Crimes Act and the Criminal Code 1995, Pauline. Right? Records about performance of Commonwealth entities. Do you keep records about your performances as you commit these criminal offences, or do you book burn them, Pauline? Book burn them. Is that what a truth commission's for? The book burning part of all of this, is it? Got to get rid of all the falsities. No, that's not true. Just book burn it. Wipe it off the books. It didn't exist, Pauline. It didn't exist. It's the book burning part of all of this, isn't it, Pauline? Australians don't know what's going on, do they? Right? Australian government financial reporting. So what's going on with the Consolidated Revenue Fund, Pauline? Why are we always in the Reserve Bank, Pauline? What's the Currency Act 1965, Pauline? What's the Debt Sinking Fund 1923, Pauline? How's the Commonwealth Bank involved in all of this, Pauline? What's a Commonwealth entity and a non-Commonwealth entity, Pauline? Why are you keeping people in slavery, Pauline? Why are you not putting the AFP onto the criminal offences that are clearly going on around Commonwealth, Pauline? This is a stark, grave reality now that Albo's taking the piss out of your armed forces now, right? But by allowing them to be seamen. I don't think men of land forces want to go to sea. I think they'd rather defend their homeland, Pauline, right, against things like war criminals, Pauline. I don't understand how you would ship your boys off to sea instead of allowing them to defend the homeland against war criminals, Pauline. We can keep going around this law and this legislation and your Constitution and the Constitution Act and the foundations forged by ANZAC and the line of authority and who you actually work for and why the criminal code's formed the way it is and what all this legislation about arbitration actually means. You know, model law has the force of law, doesn't it, Pauline? Does that include the slavery part of that model law? The force part of that law, right? It says this is the police telling people of the country what to do when they don't have a right to do that. That's slavery, Pauline. Slavery, Pauline. Right? We can keep going around in circles, but you're starting to realise now that this problem, this very big problem of international law and international slavery, it can't go on for very much longer, Pauline. You've been outed at your game, and it can only catch up with you as a criminal offence, Pauline. Criminal offence, given that the United Nations already attempted to visit the New South Wales jail systems and were denied. Like you're already creating this situation to be much worse than it ever could be by thinking that you're above it all. Thinking that you're above it all, Pauline. This is the sad part about it all, is that you think you're above it all, Pauline. Like Albo's acting in a way right now where he thinks he can destroy the principle at the end of usufruct, not realising that he's got a very big citizenry problem. A very big citizenry problem, Pauline. Right? And he's unable to control command. He's got a failed Governor-General. He's got failed police commissioners. He's got failed governors of state that have committed heinous Rule 92 offences, Pauline. Heinous Rule 92 offences. You understand now where we're going with all of this. It's not going away. You can't think you're above the law, Pauline. And Jesus said, we didn't come to break the law. We came to fulfill it, Pauline. You can't send the land forces out to sea. You can't keep the people in slavery anymore. You can't act as their nanny in the house when the sons have clearly caught you in the safe of the father. Get your hands out of father's safe and get out of father's house. This is about some of it, Pauline. You've been caught with your hands in the cookie jar when you were told not to touch the cookie jar, right? And now the son's woken up and caught the nanny in the cookie jar, and now he's about to kick the nanny out of the house, Pauline. That's where we're at. You think this is a joke. You seem to think this is a joke, that the law isn't coming to catch up with you all after you committed your COVID war offences. COVID war offences, Pauline. Right? We're talking linking all of these things to Wuhan, Pauline, at your own hands, Pauline. That's the hard part you got to understand, Pauline. The evidence is on the table linking your Governor-General to an entire system that links Obama to Wuhan. Links Obama to Wuhan. Right. That's the unbelievable part here, is that Obama signed off on gain of function research in Wuhan that your COVID task forcing and your Governor-General are directly linked to, Pauline. Directly linked to. This is a stark phenomenon, Pauline, in that after the Brereton report, it's kind of like inexcusable. It's like you can't ignore it anymore. Your Governor-General, this COVID task force command, Pauline, like this is all linked together, Pauline. You know, this Project for a New American Century and this AUKUS and this whole entire funneling of money out of the country at the end of usufruct while they try and trick the people into accepting a WEF model, like the Menzies model. Did the people ever want a republic, Pauline? Is that where they're pushing us now? Trying to undermine everything, take the link of God away from the Constitution? Take the link of God away from the Constitution, Pauline. Put the royal men on the sea. Put the royal men on the sea, Pauline. That's a bit of a disgrace. I wonder what the Australian Army thinks about being put into tin cans under the ocean. I think they'd rather be feet on the land, Pauline. Feet on the land, rather than playing this mockery that you seem to want to continue to play every day, Pauline. And at some point, we have to realise what you've been pushing at everybody. And that's why everybody's been looking at this picture this whole entire time, wondering what the hell's going on. Yeah, lift the veil up, everyone. They really are a parliament of wizards. This really is the yellow brick road, where at the end of the yellow brick road, it's just a curtain with a little Johnny Howard behind it. That's all it is. The Menzies model, Johnny Howard behind it, selling you lies to try and trick you out of your own country. That's all it is, Pauline. While they commit war crimes and try and thin out the population and immigrate more people in for their whole entire slavery model. Slaves, slave, slave. 457 workers for slaves. 417 worker visas for slaves, Pauline. You know, like backpacker worker visas for slaves, Pauline. Forget about Australians. Drive the price of everything up. Make it impossible for them to buy homes, Pauline. Import the slaves. Import the slaves. Shut down the economy. Shut down Holden. Let bonds go offshore. Import more slaves for mining. Import more slaves for Clive Palmer's mining projects. Import more slaves for, like, Rio Tinto. Import more slaves for Port Hedland. You know, like, never fucking do anything for an Australian. Just import more slaves to rape the country of everything it's got. Isn't that what you do, Albo? Isn't that what you do, Albo? I'm going to speak liberally because what stone do you connect your whole entire world to, Albo, to send Royal Australian Army off to sea in a tin can?